What should you absolutely avoid when getting into e-commerce? If you want to build a sustainable and profitable online business, let's dive right into some tips. The first thing is to avoid products that are too easily copied and pasted. What do I mean by that? That you can just easily go to a random website, take a picture of it, show it to a Chinese sourcing platform with its image search, and then you can just find thousands of it that doesn't have a unique selling point. Those products are not suitable for dropshipping because you can have competitors easily enter the market and it'd be a very, very low entry to barrier. These are typically very saturated products that have been oversold in the market and have no unique value that you just find on AliExpress 1688 or Taobao. Also, if you're trying to do some kind of knockoff items, like you're trying to copy a specific item as a complete knockoff, that's also a sign that it won't be a good business idea for your e-commerce store. Stay away from those. Some things to compensate for being able to easily copy and paste a product is something as simple as just adding a brand on it, your logo, or customizing the UI of the software. If you have some kind of an electronic product, then you can tweak the software with the supplier so that you can make it your own and unique. Of course, the more unique you make it, the more expensive it's going to cost. So if you're going to go into this extravagant, very customized product, expect to pay a lot up front. And I don't recommend doing that until you have at least tested the product and then make its tweaks as you go and get market feedback. The second kind of product that I suggest you avoid at all costs is products that you know nothing about, or even worse yet, have never used in your entire life. So you have no idea what the ideal customer profile will be for that product. I know it's very tempting to go to these websites and see the top selling products and try to resell that product. But if you know absolutely nothing about it, or if you don't have connections or relationships with people that know something about it, you're gonna be set up for failure. Not only is it gonna show that you have low credibility when you know little about this product, but when it comes to customer service complaints, and the even worse is when people just set up an e-commerce store, they never even touch the product, they got to sample themselves in their hands. And so if they reach some problems, like technically there's like, I don't know how to solve that problem, I'm sorry, try and contact the supplier for that. And that's just gonna give a bad image for your store. Without understanding the product or actually being a customer of it yourself, you're gonna have a hard time making marketing materials that will actually entice people to buy the product. So it's best to have some knowledge about the product you're selling. Either you've used it yourself or you have a circle of friends or a community that has used that product before and can give you feedback on the spot. Don't just blindly find a product and try and resell it. That doesn't end up good, especially if you don't have the proper channels to sell the product. Speaking about the proper channels to be able to sell the product, this goes into my third point of products that you should avoid selling at all costs. Don't sell a product that you cannot sell to at least 5 people in your inner circle. This is an initial test to gauge the market. Now, I know they're your friends and family, so they may have a little bit of leeway, but think of it this way. If you can't sell it to someone that you know is in the market that wants it, how are you going to sell it to strangers? Another thing is that it gives you reps to be able to sell the product from getting it from the supplier all the way to shipping it to your customer's doorstep. Without these reps, you're going to run into problems when you reach strangers, and they're not going to be as forgiving. There's going to be more chargebacks, there's going to be more complaints, negative reviews on your store. So this great test. If you cannot sell this product to 5 people in your inner circle, it's probably a good signal to steer away from this market. Now, I'm not saying you can't increase your chances with different marketing methods. I personally prefer the organic marketing methods versus paid, but you get my point. You need that feedback loop to test your product ideas with people that you know and are more forgiving if there are any logistical issues. So stay away from products that you cannot sell to at least 5 people you know in your inner circle. The fourth kind of product I would avoid are products that require excessive licenses and certifications that you or the supplier doesn't possess. So some examples are financial products. If you're trying to do a currency exchange business, did you know you need a license for that? And sometimes you might even need a banking license in those cases. Just take a guess at how much a banking license costs in some countries. Just to give you an idea, in some countries, it could be up to $1 million. So if you don't have that money up front, obviously you're not going to sell this kind of product. And you don't want to be selling a product that you don't have a license for, because when you scale, you're going to get in huge trouble legally and you're going to get sued and shut down anyways because you don't have the proper licensing when you actually scale. So also, speaking of certifications, think about like CEUL, CCC, FE. Those are the kind of certifications that I'm talking about. Usually the suppliers have that. If they have overseas experience, they've made the investment. But do realize that for a product to get that license, it takes an upfront investment, usually borne by the supplier. So if you're going to a completely new market and you found a suitable product and you want to get the certification to be able to sell that product legally, as in you have to pass immigration and customs in that country with that certification proof, you want to find a supplier that already has that. Because if not, the supplier is going to ask you to put the investment down to get that certification. And depending on the certification, it can cost between maybe a couple $100 to $100,000, depending on what the product is. Now, it's different variations depending on the industry, but you get the idea. You don't want to come up with this great elaborate idea for a product and then realize you need all these certifications. And honestly, they're just barrier to entries into the market, just frankly speaking. Like getting the UL one, yes, it's to make sure that the products are safe to use and operate. Like you don't electrocute yourself just, tweaking with the product. That's essentially for a safety concern, but it's mainly a barrier to entry to keep the top sellers on the top because they've already gone through the investments to get the certifications. Now, if you're finding this content helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more e-commerce business insights. If you want personalized advice, feel free to send an email or a DM for extra consultation on our website, borderlesscommerce.net, to turn your business idea into a reality. The fifth kind of product I would avoid at all costs is those that do not have long-term revenue streams. Now, as we would like to say, it's like one-time purchase and that's it. The customer's with you one time and you're never going to see them again. Although, depending on the service, they could refer you to other customers word of mouth. It's just not recommended to have that mindset for customers that just buy the product one time from you. Now, you can think about having this reoccurring revenue model in different ways. One that I have personal experience with is a subscription model. So on my website, I have different subscriptions based on your tier. You get cheaper shipping rates and cheaper product fees for buying certain products on my store. So that's a method. Think about a product that requires expendables. So if you have a product that maybe, let's just say incense, for example, that you need to replenish your incense every month if you're a frequent user, then they can sign up for a plan to get a replenishment of the incense every month. I also personally use a product called Teach Handling. It's pretty much cream and your facial care targeted towards men. And I'm on a subscription model there that gets paid every 1 or 2 months to be able to replenish the stock that I have. The bottom line is that you don't want the customers going in there and buying a product once and then leaving. Now, there are exceptions, but when you're starting out, you don't want to think that way because it can be quite expensive to get new customers in a business that you're doing a venture on for the first time. And I recommend that you have something to have some predictable revenue to say, okay, I have these amount of customers and let's say 10 customers and 8 customers are returning customers, and you can have a predictable business model or predictable revenue stream. If you just do the one-time purchase, you may have to invest a lot on the marketing piece, especially if you don't have an audience that you can market to. You're gonna need to most likely pay for it or create a lot of organic traffic and hope to get viral on TikTok or something like that. And that's just not a sustainable business. So be wary of different kinds of business models that do not have recurring revenue or customer coming back for more. Another kind of product that I would avoid at all costs are ones that incur huge losses for 1 or 2 mistakes. So let's say your product costs $200, but you only make $10 on the product. So it costs $200, you ship it from China, and then the customer is a scammer. Like they want to do a chargeback, they want to say they never got their product. Well, now you're $200 in the hole on a product that you only make $10 in. So you're going to need to sell 20 more products to be able to cover that loss. Now, there is no magic number for the profit margin, but do realize that the higher the profit margin, the more protected you are as a business, especially in this market when you're dealing with different kinds of strangers that are buying your products for the first time. Actually, they don't know who you are either. So they're kind of scared to actually buy the product, and they're scared they might get scammed. The number of chargebacks that increase because maybe your service is not good, and it can affect your business entirely. So imagine losing on one order and having to make up the order with 20 more orders. That's not such a feasible business model, in my opinion. And some kind of product niches come with higher risk, as in people that are more likely to do chargebacks. Like, just to give you an example, if you're into mobile gaming and they have the micro purchases on the app, like if you pay $1 for this, you get this package and you get these gems for another $2, and it compounds. There's a lot of regret that goes into that industry, and a lot of people tend to do chargebacks in that specific industry. It's not just that, but also for digital products if you're not careful. So I would always calculate your margins carefully and avoid products where small profit margins pretty much leave you no room for error if there were to be some error in some of your orders. Do note that I have made an own profit calculator. It's absolutely free to download. You can get the link down below that will tell you, okay, what's the cost of the product, the shipping cost, the tax cost, the warehouse fees, puts it all together, and you can change the profit margin you want. So you change it to like 40, 50%, and it will tell you how much you need to charge the end customer to maintain that profit margin. The 7th kind of product I would avoid are products that lack suitable marketing materials from the get-go. If you are new to this, you don't want to be spending too much time on the marketing in the beginning. You want to use already already existing marketing products that can be used on your store. What do I mean by this? If you go to Taobao 168 Pinduoduo, a lot of the suppliers already have beautiful photos of the product. They may even have it in English if you ask, you don't know, or they may have an editable Adobe Photoshop template that you can change it to English, the text and all that. Right now with all these AI tools, it's getting better and better to change Chinese text into English on a photo. Actually, my website has that feature if you're a subscribed member. That is one thing that I would recommend, is to make sure the products already have plenty of marketing materials, not just photo marketing and pamphlets, but also videos. And you can ask this from the supplier. It's best to get permission from the supplier directly. Of course, if you're getting more sales for the supplier, they're happy, but it's best to get permission from them directly so that you can use it on all kinds of social media platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram to further promote your business and your kind of product easier. Of course, later down the road, after you get some sales, you can tweak the marketing products and update it. But when you're getting started, you shouldn't use a product that has zero marketing materials, is what I'm saying. That would be very hard to actually convince the customer it's worth buying it. Now, that's a snapshot of what kind of products you should avoid in the e-commerce business, especially if you're just getting started. If you want more tips on building a successful business, don't forget to check out the website, and you can send us an email or DM at borderlesscommerce.net if you want to get your business idea set in place and make it a reality. We can help you find the perfect supplier for your perfect product if you are interested. Now, it's important to know that when you're dealing with suppliers, how to find out if they're trying to scam you or not. So if you want to learn how to prevent getting scammed with dealing with these Chinese suppliers, check out this video right here.